Week 3 of the HFL got me feeling like hello everybody, Jimmy Foosball here with our HFL Week 3 recap. Just want to shout out Mike and his family for putting on an absolutely electric Sunday football extravaganza at the crib. Thanks for making Week 3 our best week in the HFL yet this year. Now, let's go over our recap, starting with our fantasy player of the week, Mr. Jawan Jennings, putting up a historic 42-point fantasy performance, 11 receptions, 175 yards, and a hat trick for touchdowns. Our defense of the week is the New York Jets with 16 points. They only allowed 3 points, 1 fumble, and 7 sacks against the Patriots. And our kicker of the week this week, a familiar face, Mr. Brandon Aubrey with 12.6 points. He went 2 for 2 from 50 plus yards, including a 65-yard field goal. Jesus, Mary Mother of God. And 1 extra point. Going over our first matchup of the week, we have Intimidation Infinite XX versus Sosa Jeff. In this matchup, Frank gets the win with 159.32 points to Sosa Jeff's 99.68. In this game, there is no Keenan Allen. He is out with injury still. It is Frank's first win of the season, and Frank's team is also this week's Team of the Week. Let's see his lineup. Josh Allen, 263 yards, 4 touchdowns, 30.92 points. Jonathan Taylor, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27 points. Devin Singletary, 65 yards, a touchdown and a fumble, 16.8. Garrett Wilson, 5 receptions, 33 yards and a touchdown. DK Metcalf, 4 receptions, 104 yards and a touchdown, 19.4 points. Jake Ferguson, welcome back, 6 receptions, 95 yards, 12.5 points. Calvin Ridley, a little stinky, 1.4 points, 1 reception, 9 yards. Jalen Naylor, 3 receptions, 31 yards, and a touchdown. New York Jets defense, our defense of the week with 16 points. Brandon Aubrey, our kicker of the week with 12.6 points. Congratulations to Frank on his first dub. For Zach, his top performers include Lamar Jackson, Zach Charbonnet, and Jordan Mason. Lamar with 25.98 points. Charbonnet with 24.2 points. And Jordan Mason with 9.8 points. CD Lamb struggles, only 6.7 points, and it was supposed to be Brandon Ayuk week. However, it was not Brandon Ayuk week. He only puts up 7.3 points. And Zach leaves Odunze and Shakir on the bench, as they had pretty good weeks this week. Frank is now 1-2 on the season. Zach is 2-1. And our second matchup of week 3 is between Fratty Jones and Hairline Avengers. Gabe wins 103.14 to 91.84. Some injuries in this one include CMC and Josh Palmer. For JD, top performers Drake London, Alvin Kamara, and Jalen Hurts. Drake London, 15.7 points, 6 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, not exactly what he did last week, but a solid 14.2 points. Jalen Hurts, 311 yards and a pick, no touchdowns, with 11.94 points. For Gabe, his top performers are Dallas Goedert, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Matthew Stafford. Goedert with an impressive tight end performance, 23 points. Jahmyr Gibbs, 16.3 points, 83 yards and a receiving touchdown. Matthew Stafford, 12.84 points, 221 yards and a touchdown. For Gabe, though, unfortunately, Devontae Smith leaves the game with a concussion. Also, Ramondre Stevenson with an abysmal 0.3 points. JD now sits at a 1-2 record. Gabe has a 2-1 record. And our third matchup of week 3 is between Squidward Tortellini and Bamford Legend, formerly known as Revenge of the Fink. We have a name change back to a name that we are familiar with if you've been following us for a little while. Fink gets the victory, 138 points to 74.82. It was the battle of 2 undefeated teams. However, only one comes up a winner this week. We have a lot of injuries in this matchup, including Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, David Njoku, George Kittle, and Jordan Love. Also in this matchup, we have JP as our duck of the week with 74.82 points. His lineup includes Baker Mayfield 8.52, James Conner 3 points, David Montgomery 20.7, Tyreek Hill 5.5, Devontae Adams 6, Isaiah Likely the $95 waiver pickup 0.9 points, Ty Spears 8.1, Jamison Williams 0.7, Minnesota defense 14, and Younghoe Koo with 7.4. For Fink, he has Jawan Jennings, our fantasy player of the week, 42 fantasy points. We read the stat line already. That's a week winning performance right there. Barkley dropped 32.6 points, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Brock Purdy with 25.78 points, 292 yards, and 3 touchdowns. All of them going to Jawan Jennings. That was a nice stack for Fink this week. JP now sits at a 2-1 record. Fink remains the undefeated 3-0 team. In our fourth matchup of week 3, we have the manager versus just I guess I'm gonna call it the game of the week. Between this one and Fratty and Hairline Avengers, one of them is game of the week. Fuck it, I'm gonna just call this one the game of the week because I feel like it and I can do that. In this matchup, Cleary wins 106.78 to 92 points. For David, Moss, Olave, and Bijan are our top performers. Moss with 18.2 points, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Olave coming to life with 17.6 points, 6 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Bijan, Mustard, Robinson, 31 yards and a touchdown for 12.2 points. CJ Stroud struggles, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks against the Minnesota Vikings. Only 9.8 points there. And also his second round pick, Sam Laporta, leaves with a low ankle sprain. For Cleary, top performers are Rashee Rice, Jasmine Rice, JJ, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Rashee Rice with a solid 24.1 points, 12 receptions, 110 yards, and the touchdown on top. Justin Jefferson, 6 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown for him. And Marvin Harrison Jr., back-to-back solid weeks for him. 14.9 points on 5 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Shaheed drops a donut. 0 receptions, 0 yards. Donut watch, donut alert. -3 for the Raiders defense as well. But Scary Terry season began this week as we are approaching October just in time. Scary Terry was on the bench, but he dropped 19 points, had a 100-yard game. Nice touchdown as well from Jaden Daniels. David now sits at a 0-3 record, yet to find a win, and Cleary has an impressive 2-1 record this season. Our fifth matchup is Mr. Miami and Mr. D is Cord, aka Kamish. In my opinion, not one of his best names this week. However, he gets the victory, so good for him. He has a 136.46 performance versus Joe's 79.68 performance. Joe, aka Mr. Injuries. We have a lot on the injury front for this guy. We have AJ Brown out, Deebo Samuel out, Jordan Addison out, Justin Herbert questionable, eventually went out in the middle of the game, and on the other side, Raheem Mostert is out. Top performers for Joe: Aaron Jones, Seattle defense, and Tank Dell. Aaron Jones, 102 yards and a reception touchdown for 24.3 points. Seattle defense against Miami, 12 points. And Tank Dell, 5 receptions for 62 yards, 8.7 points. On the other side, for Kamish, we have top performers Kyron Williams, Jamar, and Joe Burrow, as finally the Bengals wake up, even though they lose to the Commanders, one of the worst defenses, probably the worst defense in the league currently. Kyron Williams, 30.6 points, 89 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Very nice stat line. Jamar, 6 receptions, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 27.8 points. It's about damn time. Joe Burrow, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 26.36 points. But the Bengals still lose. They start 0-3 on the season, just like Joe. Sorry I had to do that. Boston with a 1-2 record. Also notable for Boston, Amari Cooper got benched and he had his typical Amari crazy game. 7 receptions, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. First play for the Browns was a nice touchdown pass, and of course he's sitting on the bench, but it doesn't matter because Boston got the W anyway, so congrats to him. And our final matchup is Breeze Company versus I'm on a Boat. In this matchup, Mike wins 143.98 to 95.48. Injuries include Cooper Kupp on the IR and Isaiah Pacheco also on the IR. IR. Top performers for Brees Company, Derrick Henry, Chuba Hubbard, and Malik Neighbors. Derrick Henry with a nice vintage performance, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 30.9 points against the Dallas defense. Chuba Hubbard. Who?
Chuba Hubbard!
As the Red Rocket finally ignites this offense and they do something. He drops 26.4 points, 114 yards and a reception touchdown. And Malik Neighbors having an impressive start to his rookie year. 8 receptions, 78 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Cleveland Browns for 24.2 points. I know it hurt Lombardi to have to watch his Giants wide receiver doing the dirty against his fantasy team. On Lombardi's side, top performers include Deontay Johnson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and James Cook. Deontay Johnson, as I mentioned Red Rocket earlier, 8 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown for 23.2 points. Amon-Ra with 7 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown for 17 points. And James Cook, 39 yards and a touchdown as the Bills obliterate the Jags. 16.7 points for James Cook. We have a notable Mark Andrews donut in Lombardi's lineup. Also, Anthony Richardson looks very turnover prone this week. 167 yards, 2 picks, only 5.08 fantasy points. Team manager Lombardi made a statement this week saying he was going to give Jaden Daniels the start. Is he going to stick to his word or is he going to backtrack and start AR again? I guess we will find out in next week's recap. Mike now has a 2-1 record on the season. Lombardi also with a 2-1 record. Here we have our current standings of our HFL 2024 season. 1 undefeated team remains, that is Jordan Fink, Bamford legend, and 2 defeated teams remain, David and Joe Walter, Mr. Miami, both 0-3. Week 3, probably our best week yet. No, undoubtedly our best week yet. Thank you everyone who came out. It was a great time. Thanks again to the parents of the Bargioni residents for throwing a great event. And with that being said, there's not much more to say except my name is Jimmy Foosball. Thank you for watching the Week 3 HFL recap. I will see you guys next week after Week 4. Peace.
Is this video or photo?
It's a video, sadly. I thought it was a photo.
Let me drop some knowledge on the video.
Yeah.
Frank's a fraud Dolphins fan. What about me? Yeah, fuck him. Fraud Steelers fan, actually.
I'm suing the
Who's that?
Bargioni house for unsafe conditions.
I will represent him
This
in the
pool
lawsuit.
deck is
actually.
not safe.
And I'll be real.
I am gonna.
I've learned a lot today. I've learned a lot today about our constituents of this
Why?
Everyone's a fraud. It is fucked up.
Thank you for your insight, committee.
Amen, motherfucker.